New economic numbers that show the economy is in great shape.
America's economy is not working for working people.
By many measures, the American economy continues to grow quickly when you look at the data. Are average Americans actually feeling it?
You go out there and you talk to real people, and they tell you they are not sharing in this prosperity.
Our country is doing well. Never probably has done as well as it's doing right now economically.
Welcome back to Hardball Live with the Deciders. The Deciders, we're calling them that in Luzerne County, Pennsylvania, because this county went for Donald Trump in 2016 after decades of voting for Democrats, including twice for Obama. Well, that was President Trump, by the way, and some of his Democratic challengers talking about the economy just now. Let's face it, under normal circumstances, this strong economy with a lower than 4% unemployment rate would make an incumbent president like Trump a big favorite to win re-election. But we'll see. Joining me right now is Eyelash Hoban, Donna Kowalczyk, and Dave Beloga. Thank you all for joining us. And I want to talk about the economy because obviously the economy doesn't rise everywhere at the same rate. You have a particular case. It's scary. Eyelash, how much do you owe in student loans?
I owe about $160,000 in student loans. I pay $2,100 a month in student loans. I'm very lucky. I have great parents.
Where'd you go? Where'd it cost this much?
The Fashion Institute of Technology in New York City.
Of course.
So expensive. One of the top fashion schools in the world.
Well, it's a great school.
But I'm very lucky. I have good parents who let me live with them. I guess.
Okay, you got to pay $2,100 after taxes a month. You got to come up with that.
Yeah.
So how do you manage $2,100 a month?
I work 3 jobs. So I work a full-time job, just doing like billing work, and then I waitress on the side, and I also assistant coach swimming at Wilkes University.
And you live at home.
Yep.
Well, that's the big decision. And wow.
Yeah.
What's that say about what's going on? Because a lot of kids, when I went to college, I went to Holy Cross. It was a great college. It cost me $2,000 a year. My parents paid half. I borrowed $2,800 at 3%. It was a breeze. It was a breeze to pay it off.
I have 2 children that went to King's. They did get a lot of scholarships. And one started off at $90,000 a year and one at $50,000. So they've been very lucky. And I think it depends on what course you take.
Yeah.
I mean, one's computers and athletic training.
Well, how'd you vote for Trump?
I was a lifelong Democrat. I liked the fact that he was a businessman. I wanted to see job growth. I wanted to see economic growth. We have to take care of our own country before we can take care of others.
How's it going?
It's going
How's your
good.
bet going? You like your bet?
We're doing very well. There's buildings going up in the industrial park here. There's help wanted signs everywhere you look.
How's the economy doing? Does anybody think it's getting a little better?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, show of hands. Show of hands, it's getting a little better. Show of hands, it's not getting better. Let me, the unemployment, I mean, look at it. I just checked all the rates. Nationally, it's about 3.6, which is incredibly low nationally, but a lot of the jobs don't pay much, right? and it's 3.9 here. What did you think? Did anybody here benefit from the tax cut? No. How many benefited from the tax cut?
I did.
Well, that's not much. Who did? You did?
I did.
Tell me about the tax cut. Why'd you like the Trump tax cut?
I see the results of the tax cut in the employer where I work. They've been able to invest more in the building. We've got the most substantial raise in our last contract that we ever got.
You're a Teamster, right?
Yes.
So James Hoffa delivered. Your international president delivered for you, right?
No, I was chief negotiator myself, actually, with my team. Yes.
And you're a union guy. How can you be a union guy and a Republican? Explain that. I'm curious.
Republican Party is more aligned with my personal moral values, being pro-life, wanting to have personal freedoms for many things.
Yeah.
Legal immigration, because I see the impact when the labor market is inundated with workers who are working under the table. It lowers the wages for the union workers. It lowers the wages for the other people. And there's already underground labor market in many building trades. And I've had many fellow union members come up to me and say, it's hurting us very bad.
How do you like this gig economy of Uber and Lyft and things like that? You like that stuff?
Around here, that really doesn't do a lot. I mean, there's not a lot of taxi travel around here, but I do know that people use them a lot when they're actually
It's huge in the
bars
cities.
or something like that.
It's huge with kids. It's huge
I
with
can
kids.
see it's going to hurt cities' economies.
Well, like
for the
medallion
taxi
owners.
drivers.
What about the guy who owns a medallion? Go ahead.
Hey, you
please.
spoke about freedom, sir. I'll tell you, I served in the United States Army for 30 years. And it was all about freedom. And I came home and I realized my community was not free. We have more people in my community, I lived in Monroe County in the Poconos, and we have more people going out of Monroe County into New York for jobs because of cost of living here, not because of cost of living, but because of the minimum wage, not sustainable living wages here in Monroe County or in Pennsylvania. $7.25 an hour is not sustainable living wages. And people should not, they work hard to build their homes, and they cannot enjoy it because they have to go outside of Monroe County or outside of my area.
Why do they live in Monroe County and not live in New York City? Because they can't afford to live there.
They can't afford it. But
Exactly.
Sir,
so the high wages that they're paying in New York City have helped contribute to the expensive lifestyle, expensive cost of living in the cities. That's why people move out of the cities.
We talk about economic development.
The taxes.
There is jobs. There is jobs in my area, but it's minimum wage jobs. We are becoming the water park.
People need to get away from minimum wage jobs. They need to find other skills. They need to take.
I want to get this office.
We can't guarantee people their wages.
I want
you have
everybody
to
in
earn
here.
your wages.
What did you say about the minimum wage, sir?
The last time they raised the minimum wage was 20 years ago in Pennsylvania. 42%.
I won't argue that. I'm a union member. That's why I took a job in a factory to be a union member, because it paid better wages.
I want to get her.
We can't set wages. Don't be a hypocrite. That's right. Come on.
You need to earn more money by earning more skills.
Not gonna work for me.
Stand up, sir.
Okay, first,
let this gentleman speak, please.
First and foremost, I'm not red, I'm not blue, I'm red, white, and blue. I don't care. And that's what it boils down to. I'm a veteran. I'm a combat veteran. I'm a disabled veteran. I'm a union member. I'm a union steward. And I will tell you the truth. I did not vote in the last election because neither party had the best interests for me, the American citizen. We still want to do all this coal, and we want to talk about immigration. Let's talk about our roads, our schools, our economy, the VA. The VA that's supposed to take care of us. Now you're trying to outsource. And then our unions.
Okay, let's talk about that. There was a $2 trillion infrastructure bill talked about 2 weeks ago. It was real. Pelosi went up, even though she wants to get Trump out of there, basically. Let's be honest about it. She sat down with them. They said, how about $2 trillion? A real bill. The Republicans in the Senate met, and they decided to do nothing, squat. So let me bring it. Tom Perez, will you stand up, Mr. Chairman?
Absolutely.
What are the Democrats going to do about infrastructure if they get back in there? Because I think most people believe in work and security. And I drove here last night from New York. Okay, there's a few bumps. Okay, it's real. Your thoughts?
Listen, Chris, I've been listening. I want to thank all of you for your honesty, because I came here, and unfortunately the RNC chair didn't, even though she was invited, because it's important to listen and learn. And what we need, and what I'm hearing right now, is this is a conversation about economic security and the dignity of work. For Democrats, the dignity of work means you only work one job, not 3 jobs. The dignity of work, Chris, means that you have health care. And in the last week, folks, if you want to know, the Democrats have your back. In the last week, including today, there have been a total of 8 bills that have been passed or will be passed in the United States House of Representatives to make sure that if you have a pre-existing condition, you can keep your health care and to lower the cost.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you. We got to stop here. I'm sorry. Please come back for more. I'm going to Lou Barletta equal time here. This is about the people here, but also the big shots. Anyway, Mr. Beloga, thank you so much, and thank you very much, Donna, and good luck with it. this incredible loan of yours. Anyway.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.